What if you were forced into a competition to marry a billionaire, but love was the last thing on your mind? Welcome to Dark Voices, where we dive into gripping tales of drama and deception. Stay tuned, because this story will leave you speechless. I don't want to go. I won't attend, or participate, in any of your crazy ideas, Cheryl. Kelsey said firmly, refusing her stepmother's plan, which apparently involved making her some kind of savior. Cheryl merely rolled her eyes. I already signed your invitation, and you're going. You're the one representing our family. This will be the greatest contribution you'll ever make in your whole life, she said, her tone implying Kelsey was good for nothing. Kelsey stifled a bitter laugh. 3 months after Mom died, Dad married you, and for the past 5 years, you've been my stepmother. But not once did you ever treat me like your daughter. In this house, you act as if everything belongs to you. You have some nerve. And now, after squandering money alongside Dad, you plan to make me collateral? You've got to be kidding me. Kelsey's voice dripped with anger. Cheryl flashed a mischievous grin. What's your point, Kelsey? Your dad is in a coma, and the company's going bankrupt. Are you really just going to let all of your father's hard work vanish? Are you also going to let him waste away in the hospital? Oh, come on, Kelsey, don't you love your dad? Kelsey snapped back, of course I love him. But why do I have to do this? I know you'll be the one who benefits from Mom and Dad's money. If you want someone to compete, you do it. She snarled, then stormed out of the room. Can Kelsey escape this twisted game, or will she be trapped in a billionaire's world of secrets? Keep watching Dark Voices to find out. Meanwhile, standing silently by the window was Brandon, lost in thought. Noticing her son's distant expression, Mrs. Hughes walked over. What's on your mind, honey? Are you excited to meet the contestants for the competition tomorrow? Brandon sighed. Mom, are we really doing this? I mean, do we truly have to? Of course, Mrs. Hughes replied gently. We've already tried everything to help you find a suitable partner. We've introduced you to all kinds of women, even that really pretty homeless girl, but you never showed the slightest interest. You've liked quite a few women in the past, but every one of them turned out to be after our money. It's so hard to find a woman who will love you for who you are. Don't worry, Brandon, just trust me. Sooner or later, we'll find a decent girl you can marry. Tomorrow's the competition, so get ready. With that, mother and son chatted a bit more until the next day arrived, the day Brandon had been waiting for. He and Mrs. Hughes stood at the mansion's gate, awaiting the 6 participants. All 6 came from different families, but only 3 would be selected to stay in the mansion. The other 3 would be sent home the same day. Brandon greeted each woman cordially but quickly noticed one was missing. Ma, I thought there were 6. Where's the other one? I'm not sure, Mrs. Hughes said. Let's wait a little longer. In the meantime, why don't you sit down on that chair? Brandon did as he was told. Just as he sat down, a car pulled up to the gate, grabbing Mrs. Hughes's attention. A simple-looking young woman stepped out of the car. Excuse me, is this the Hughes mansion? Kelsey asked politely, even though she found this entire contest ridiculous. Kelsey had no choice. She couldn't stand by and let her family's assets, her mother's hard-earned legacy, disappear. She also couldn't stand the thought of actually getting married for real, especially since love was the last thing on her mind. But she had no other options. All she had to do was what everyone else was probably going to do, avoid letting the man desperate for a wife pick her and just earn enough to help her family. Yes, dear, this is our mansion, Mrs. Hughes said. Are you one of the contestants? Yes, ma'am, Kelsey replied. Then come on in. My son's waiting for you, Mrs. Hughes said, leading her inside. From a distance, Kelsey could see the other 5 contestants already lined up. With each step she took, Kelsey caught a glimpse of an attractive young man, tall, handsome, with a distinctly irresistible aura. She found herself unintentionally admiring him. Before long, Kelsey joined the other women in line, but her thoughts felt distant. She kept staring at Brandon, struck by his looks. Miss? Hey, miss? Brandon's voice snapped her out of her daze. She was just standing there, eyes glued to him. Dear? Mrs. Hughes also tried to get Kelsey's attention. Startled, she jolted back to her senses. Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, Kelsey answered, cheeks burning in embarrassment. Are you okay? Are you listening now? Mrs. Hughes asked. Kelsey nodded in reply. Why did they even let that woman join? She clearly isn't paying attention, one of the other contestants muttered, causing a few snickers. Quiet. Mrs. Hughes scolded, silencing them. Listen carefully. All 6 of you are here for this competition, but only 3 can remain in the mansion by the end of the day. Don't worry, those who don't qualify will still receive compensation for showing up. As for the 3 who are chosen, you'll stay inside the mansion to continue the competition. In the end, 1 out of the 3 will be the winner, while the 2 who lose will be free to wish for anything from us, Mrs. Hughes announced. Most of the women were delighted, already thinking of what they might wish for. Mrs. Hughes clapped her hands. Is everybody excited? The first thing you'll do is get measured over there. Naturally, as a man, my son also wants a wife with a beautiful figure, she said, pointing to 2 body measuring stations. The women rushed over, obviously thrilled to show off their perfect curves. Kelsey, on the other hand, grimaced because she knew she would be at a disadvantage if they were measuring bust, hips, and backside. Regardless, the rest seemed eager and proud. The first contestant had a generous bust and a well-shaped figure that impressed even Mrs. Hughes. The next ones followed suit, each apparently more perfect than the last. Then it was Kelsey's turn. As soon as her chest measurement was taken, the other contestants burst into laughter. Oh my God, that's so flat, like a wall. One woman teased, clearly taking the lead. The others joined in, mocking Kelsey. Stop it. The competition isn't over yet, Mrs. Hughes reproved them, while Brandon silently observed, sizing up the women. Next, Kelsey stepped up to measure her hips and backside. Surprisingly, the other women were taken aback. Her hip measurement was spot on, forming a shape that perfectly fit the chart. She might have a small chest, but she made up for it elsewhere. All right, that's enough measuring. Next, each of you will try to seduce my son, Mrs. Hughes announced. In marriage, physical chemistry is very important, so let's see if you can spark his desire. When the second part started, Brandon waited on his bed as the women took turns entering the room to seduce him. They were all beautiful, with flawless bodies, each prepared to go as far as necessary to make Brandon choose them. What's your name again? He asked one woman. I'm Vanessa, she replied sweetly. How exactly do you want me tonight, Brandon? Just tell me, and I'll give you everything you desire, she added flirtatiously, sliding onto his lap. Well, show me what you've got, Brandon replied, arching a brow. Vanessa bit her lip. Then I'll heat you up right here in your own bed, she teased, slowly unzipping his pants. She was about to grab the most sensitive part of him when Brandon abruptly stopped her. Don't. I've seen enough. You can go now, he said flatly. What? She exclaimed, disappointed. I said I've seen enough. You can leave. Next. Brandon cut her off, ignoring her protests. Vanessa stomped out, frustrated. Brandon shook his head. So aggressive. She's gorgeous, but I want someone different, someone who isn't just after money, he muttered to himself. The door opened once more. Come in, he invited the next contestant. Kelsey walked in, looking uneasy. Okay, so what exactly do you want me to do for you? Are you expecting me to take my clothes off, just like them? She asked, sitting beside him. Brandon cocked his head. You tell me. This is a competition for my future wife, so expect the unexpected. She exhaled. Look, just send me home. I can't do any of the things you want. I'm a virgin, and I promised myself I'd only give myself to the man I marry. I can't believe I got forced into this by my stepmother. My dad is in a coma, and our family business is about to collapse. The offer to join this competition was our only hope for help, but seducing you? I can't do that. Please, just eliminate me and let me go home, Kelsey begged, her voice shaky but honest. Brandon couldn't help but smile. She was the first woman who hadn't tried to hop into bed with him. In fact, she wanted to leave. Even more surprising was how openly she admitted her virginity. All right, you can go, he answered. Really? She brightened, relieved. Thank you so much. She practically flew out of the room in her excitement. Brandon chuckled. She's very interesting, he murmured. She was unique. No one else had outright refused him or confessed their innocence so candidly. Kelsey, meanwhile, was thrilled. If Cheryl asked, she'd simply say she was cut during the elimination round. Later, Mrs. Hughes approached Brandon in the hallway. So, son, have you picked your favorites? Yes, Mom. By the way, can you have our people pull up the financial records for Kelsey Fulton's family company? Brandon asked. But why, Brandon? She scored the lowest out of everyone, Mrs. Hughes said, frowning. Just do it for me, please, he urged. A playful smile spread across Mrs. Hughes's lips. I see. You like her, right? She teased. Brandon shoved his hands into his pockets and smirked. It's too soon to say I like her, but she's interesting. Well, in that case, Mrs. Hughes said with a wink, I can slip her name into the list of finalists. She's the prettiest among the 6, so that's not a bad call. Brandon let out a light laugh. A short while later, Mrs. Hughes's staff brought back information showing that Kelsey's family business was indeed in a dire crisis. Brandon and his mother then returned to announce the 3 finalists. Listen up, ladies, Mrs. Hughes said. We have the list of the 3 who will continue living in our mansion and who still have a chance to become the billionaire's wife. Everyone stood on edge. Kelsey was itching to go home. The finalists are Vanessa Miller, Alyssa Dyson, and Kelsey Fulton, Mrs. Hughes declared. Kelsey's jaw dropped. She couldn't believe it. Judging by the first tasks alone, she had expected to be sent home. She looked over at Brandon in shock, but he just winked at her. Vanessa noticed his wink and instantly regarded Kelsey as her biggest rival. After the announcement, the staff led each of them to their own rooms. Every suite showcased the luxury Brandon's family possessed. Ma'am, just ring the bell if you need anything, one housekeeper said to Kelsey. Thank you so much, Kelsey replied politely, closing the door. Alone in the room, she dropped onto the bed, feeling heavy. She didn't want to be here, yet here she was, still in the mansion. She had assumed Brandon would send her away. Why didn't he eliminate me? I was so sure I'd go home, she muttered to herself. I thought he agreed to let me leave. She tried to think of reasons but came up empty. She gazed out the window and spotted Brandon outside, waving at her. Brandon? She said, confused. She opened the window. Why are you waving? Do you need something? Because I do, she said bluntly. Brandon slid his hands into his pockets and shrugged. I just wanted to ask if you like your room, that's it. Your room, my room, is your room. Yes, he replied. I decided to let you have it. But why? Brandon offered a small, casual smile. Maybe because I find you interesting. Kelsey scowled. Give me a real reason, please. That is the real reason, he said unapologetically. Kelsey averted her eyes, feeling an odd tension whenever Brandon was around. For some reason, he looked even more attractive up close. Fine, the room is nice, and yes, I like it, she said with a sigh. So, can I ask you something now? Why didn't you eliminate me? It was obvious I had the lowest score, so why keep me? Brandon smirked, almost flirtatiously. Strangely, Kelsey realized she kind of liked that smirk. Want me to repeat the answer? I told you, I'm interested in you. Those words made Kelsey's heart race even more. Are you playing games with me, Mr. Hughes? Certainly not. Another reason I kept you around is, well, read this, Brandon said, handing her some papers. As soon as she took them, she realized they were documents about her family's business. She gaped at him in disbelief. "Why do you have these files on our company? This is personal data. How did you even get this?" "I have resources," Brandon replied. "That's the power of money." "And go ahead, read a little further," he encouraged. Kelsey scanned the second page. It revealed that Brandon had injected a considerable sum of money into her struggling family business, an amount large enough to keep them afloat for quite a while. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, stunned. "I haven't even won yet." "Isn't that against the rules of the competition?" Brandon shrugged. "It's my money, Kelsey. I can use it how I please, and I don't regret helping your dad's company." "But why? Why do that for me? How am I supposed to pay you back if I lose?" she stammered. "That's easy," Brandon said with a playful gleam in his eye. He gently lifted Kelsey's chin. "Impress me, honey, because if you don't, you owe me every cent. But if you do become my wife, it's free." He turned and walked away, leaving Kelsey staring after him, speechless. Brandon wore a satisfied grin as he left. Kelsey sighed, face in her hands. What did he just say? If I become his wife, I don't have to pay? But I'm not ready to get married. Still, how else would I repay him? This is crazy. Unbeknownst to Kelsey, someone else was watching from afar. Vanessa, jealousy simmered inside her. "I guess you're my mortal enemy, Kelsey, and I can't let you win," Vanessa seethed inwardly. The next morning, Kelsey woke up early. She stretched her arms and stepped out of her room, only to find a note on her door. "As soon as you wake up, go downstairs and cook a delicious meal for Mr. Hughes before 8 a.m. 8 o'clock? Kelsey exclaimed. She checked her watch. She only had 45 minutes. She rushed to the kitchen, where Vanessa and Alyssa were already cooking up the most delectable dishes for Brandon. Kelsey, on the other hand, didn't even know where to start. She stood in front of the fridge, biting her nails in a panic. "Oh my gosh, what am I going to cook?" "I have no idea," she mumbled. Spotting Kelsey's predicament, Vanessa sidled up to her with a raised eyebrow. "You don't know how to cook, do you?" she asked snidely. Kelsey lowered her gaze. I really don't. Could you help me out?" Vanessa burst into a mocking laugh. "Excuse me? This is a competition. We're not here to help each other out. I'm here to win, not lend a hand to a helpless woman like you. So that's why you were acting all flirty with Brandon last night. You have no other skill but seduction, I see." Vanessa sauntered off haughtily. Unbeknownst to them, Brandon had set up an audio recorder in the kitchen to observe not just cooking skills but also each contestant's true character. Sarah, the other woman, intervened. "Knock it off, Vanessa. Mind your own business and go back to your cooking." Whatever," Vanessa snapped, stomping away. Sarah turned to Kelsey. "You okay?" "Yeah, thanks," Kelsey mumbled. "But I still don't know what to cook." "Just cook anything," Sarah suggested. "If you force yourself to make it fancy, you might mess it up. If there's one dish you're comfortable with, even if it's simple, then go for it." Kelsey's eyes lit up, recalling the dish her late mother used to make for her. "Right, I've got an idea, but I'm not sure if I can pull it off." "Go for it." "Time's running," Sarah said, and Kelsey quickly started prepping. Everyone was focused on making the best dish possible, each with their own goals. Vanessa, especially, wanted the money and to become the billionaire's wife. Time was up, and they each brought their dishes to the dining table where Brandon was waiting. Smells good. So, Vanessa, what do you have for me?" Vanessa presented her platter proudly. "I made turkey bacon and eggs on toasted brioche with vanilla pudding for dessert," she said, lifting the cover. "Taste it, Brandon. I'm sure you'll love it." "It looks nice, smells great, and the plating is on point," Brandon observed, taking a bite. One taste told him it was indeed delicious and perfectly balanced. "Fantastic. If you became my wife, you'd definitely be a great cook. Vanessa blushed and batted her eyelashes. Thank you, and if I become your wife, I'll cook anything you want, among other things, she added suggestively. Brandon simply nodded. She was undoubtedly skilled, but her over-the-top flirtation left him cold. Next, he turned to Alyssa. And you, Alyssa, what did you make? Alyssa beamed. Chicken and waffles, plus sweet pumpkin pie for dessert. Wow, looks incredible, Brandon said, taking a bite. He moaned in satisfaction. This might be the tastiest chicken and waffles I've ever had, and the pumpkin pie is so sweet. I'm enjoying all of it. You're definitely wife material, he nodded in approval. Meanwhile, Kelsey stood anxiously off to the side, her heart pounding each time Brandon moved on to another dish. She was certain she'd be told to pack her bags once he saw her simple offering. Finally, Brandon turned to her. And how about you, Kelsey? What do you have for me? She stammered. I said, what did you cook, or do you have nothing? He repeated, raising an eyebrow. I have something, she assured him, lifting the lid. I made salmon soup with hard-boiled eggs. Vanessa burst out laughing. You served salmon soup to a billionaire? And it smells fishy as heck. Quiet. Brandon snapped, shooting Vanessa a glare. This is Kelsey's turn, so let's hear her out. Kelsey took a steadying breath. The truth is, I'm not really good at cooking. I grew up never setting foot in a kitchen. My family has always had staff who cooked for us. This salmon soup is the only thing I know how to make because it's my late mother's recipe, something she always made for me. It's very special and meaningful, even if it's not fancy. This dish has all my heart and love poured into it. I think that's what really matters, she finished, speaking honestly. Brandon felt a warmth in his chest. Let's see, he said, taking a spoonful of broth. Kelsey bit her lip, anxious. Would he like it? Had she seasoned it properly? This is fantastic. I love the taste. I want more, he said, surprising Kelsey. Brandon waved over the housekeepers. Yes, sir? One asked. You're free to eat the rest of these dishes, Brandon said, gesturing at everything on the table. But please leave me a good serving of this salmon soup, he added, looking at Kelsey's dish. The housekeepers nodded, and Brandon turned back to the women. That's enough for today's task. You're free to go out now if you'd like to do some shopping. Here are 3 cards. Feel free to spend as much as you want, he announced, laying 3 credit cards on the table. Really? We can just use these cards? Vanessa asked, grabbing one excitedly, practically seeing dollar signs. Kelsey picked hers up last, almost hesitantly. Then they all stepped outside, where cars were waiting to drive them into town. As Brandon crossed paths with Kelsey, he noticed she hadn't left. Kelsey, why are you still here? You have a credit card, and you can buy whatever you want. Why stay behind? The other 2 left already. Kelsey held out the card. I'm giving it back to you. Brandon frowned. This is yours, Kelsey. I gave it to you. Why return it? I don't want to buy anything, she explained. I have no use for it. He gave her a long look. All right, then. But if you're not shopping, is there somewhere else you want to go? She hesitated, lowering her voice. I want to see my dad at the hospital. Honestly, I thought about tagging along with Vanessa and Alyssa, but I'd just get in their way. They're happy about shopping, but I'd just be a downer. So, I decided I'd just head over to see my dad. Brandon's expression softened. You're a good daughter. You're here in this competition, but your father is still your priority. You have such a good heart, he praised her. Without warning, he leaned in and kissed her gently on the forehead. Kelsey's heart nearly leapt out of her chest. What? Why did you do that? She stuttered, shaken by the way her heart fluttered. Brandon was now the first man, other than her father, to kiss her forehead so tenderly. He shrugged, smiling. No reason. I just felt like kissing a good girl. Now, go get ready. We're leaving. Leaving? But I don't have a car, she said. That's not a problem, Brandon replied. You'll be riding with me. Just get changed. I'll wait for you in my car. Although Kelsey was confused by Brandon's sudden show of kindness, she didn't want to pass up the chance to see her dad, so she quickly got dressed. Moments later, she climbed into Brandon's car. Kelsey, you forgot something, Brandon said as she settled into the seat. She looked around. What do you mean? I'm pretty sure I have everything. You forgot your seatbelt, he said with a slight laugh. Oh, sorry. She exclaimed, fumbling for it. Before she could buckle up, Brandon reached over. Let me help you. You're so slow, he teased, adjusting the belt for her. Kelsey froze as he leaned in close, inhaling the subtle, clean scent of his cologne. She caught sight of the smooth skin at his nape and found herself staring. All set, Brandon murmured, finishing with her seatbelt. When their eyes met, the spark between them was undeniable. Brandon's gaze traveled from her eyes down to her lips, then to her neck. Every centimeter his eyes moved, Kelsey felt her body temperature rise. You're beautiful, she heard herself blurt out. And you're so hot. She clamped her mouth shut, too late, realizing how it sounded. Brandon's lips curved into a grin. I'm hot, huh? He teased, flashing a roguish smile. I didn't say that, she sputtered. I meant it's hot in here. The weather, that's all. He chuckled. Sure, sweetie, it's real hot here, even with the air conditioning on. Sweetie? She repeated, her cheeks flushing. She couldn't deny how sweet it felt hearing him call her that. Yeah, sweetie, you're blushing, Brandon's eyes sparkled, as though challenging her. Am I wrong? Do you like being called sweetie? I'm fine, thanks, she said in a rush, trying to dodge his question. She wiped a bead of non-existent sweat from her forehead, pretending she was hot from the weather and not from embarrassment. You know, Kelsey, Brandon continued, girls' cheeks turn red like that when they're into someone. Your imagination's running wild, she retorted, lips tightening. He smirked. For your information, I've never driven any other woman around before. She cut him off. How was I supposed to know that? Now you're being bratty, Brandon teased. Normally, that's something I hate in a woman, but somehow it looks sexy on you. Kelsey squirmed in her seat, feeling those butterflies again. Can we just get going? Brandon's hand suddenly caught hers, making her look up at him. Don't pull away, he whispered. Let me hold your hand, just for a little bit longer. Please, talk to me, Brandon said gently, noticing how quiet Kelsey had become. She didn't complain when he held her hand, and a small part of her heart actually wanted them to stay that way. I love how soft your hands are, sweetie, Brandon murmured, making Kelsey deny any special feeling despite secretly enjoying their closeness. She allowed him to hold her hand all the way to her father's house. Upon arriving, Cheryl, Kelsey's stepmother, greeted them eagerly, showering Brandon with hospitality. Kelsey, however, went straight to her father, who remained in a coma. Dad, please wake up, Kelsey begged, gently taking his limp hand. I know you might feel that I hate you for marrying someone new just 3 months after Mom passed. I was so upset, thinking you replaced her too fast. But I know deep down you still love her. You never let anyone remove her pictures from this house. You even kept one empty frame beside her photos, never putting Cheryl's face there. I've caught you crying so many times, staring at our family album. I know you love Mom. Please come back to us. I don't want to lose you before I even get a chance to say I'm sorry. Dad, I love you. I need you. Please wake up. Tears trickled down her cheeks. When she finished talking to her unconscious father, she left the room, only to find Cheryl waiting in the hallway. Kelsey, can we talk? Cheryl asked kindly, and Kelsey agreed. I heard what you said to your father, Cheryl began. Believe it or not, I love you. I love you like my own daughter, but you never gave me a chance to be your mother. I'll admit, it's been tough trying to reach out to you, especially when, well, your dad never fully gave me his heart because it's still with your mom. But I truly love him, and I know we both love him in our own ways. He cherished your family business because it's part of your mom's legacy, even naming the company after her. Look, I know you still don't accept me, but please, do it for your dad in your mom's memory. Help us keep this family and the business together. Her words tugged at Kelsey's heart. She felt a pang of guilt and sorrow. Tears welled in her eyes as she held Cheryl's hand. I'm sorry, Kelsey said softly. I can see you love my dad, and that you've tried to get close to me, but it's hard to accept you. It felt like you replaced my mom way too soon, and I guess I was afraid if I let you in, then I'd be forgetting my real mom. Even now, it's still hard for me. Cheryl nodded with understanding. I understand, but I hope one day we can truly get along. Yes, maybe when I'm ready to open my heart. Thank you, Cheryl, Kelsey replied, and Cheryl hugged her gently. Thank you, Kelsey. I'm holding on to that hope, Cheryl whispered before leaving the house. Kelsey returned to Brandon's car, her eyes still red from crying. You okay? He asked softly, concern in his voice. I'm fine, let's just go, she said, swallowing back more tears. Brandon started the car but glanced at her worriedly. Kelsey, don't pretend you're fine if you're hurting. He put a comforting hand on her shoulder. Their eyes met. It's okay to cry if your heart aches. I'm here for you. Those words finally broke her composure. Kelsey burst into tears and instinctively leaned in, letting him embrace her. It's okay, Brandon murmured, holding her. Everything will be all right. He didn't need further explanation to guess why she was crying. Seeing her dad in a coma must have been tearing her apart. You'll be okay, sweetie. I'll help you, he whispered, and despite her grief, she felt calmer in his arms. Once she'd cried all she could, they headed back to the Hughes mansion, coincidentally arriving at the same time as the other two contestants, who had just come back from a shopping spree. From a distance, Vanessa watched Brandon with his arm around Kelsey's waist. So that's why she stayed behind, she muttered in annoyance. She wanted him all to herself. Well, watch out, Kelsey. I'll deal with you. She glared at them jealously. Meanwhile, Kelsey thanked Brandon before heading up to her room. She'd barely sat down when someone pounded on the door. She assumed it might be Brandon, maybe with something he forgot to say, but when she opened up, "Hi, flirt." Vanessa greeted with a nasty smirk, barging inside without permission. Vanessa, why are you talking to me like that? Is there a problem? Kelsey asked, keeping her tone polite. She disliked conflicts. Vanessa scoffed. Oh, there's definitely a problem. You're shameless, flirting. Don't play innocent. We all saw you stay behind, obviously trying to get Brandon all to yourself. I have no idea what you're talking about, Kelsey said calmly. Oh, really? So you're telling me you didn't scheme this whole thing so you could hook up with Brandon? Look, you're sweet on the outside, but you're just as conniving as the rest of us. Where'd you two even go? Using your body to climb your way to the top? Come on, fight fair. Vanessa challenged. Kelsey was about to respond when a voice spoke up behind her. Shut your mouth if you have no clue what you're saying, Vanessa, Brandon snapped from the doorway. Vanessa's face paled. Brandon, how long have you been there? Long enough, he replied coldly. If you really need to know, Kelsey and I visited her father, who's in a coma. That's it. And by the way, this day wasn't even part of the competition. Brandon eyed Vanessa. You're beautiful, no doubt. You stand a good chance of winning. Thank you, Vanessa said, flipping her hair. I know you like gorgeous and sexy women. Trust me, I won't let you down. If I win, I'll give you everything you want. Brandon gave a tight smile. Sure, but I don't only need physical beauty. I need more than that, and I wonder if you even have it, his tone turned dismissive. If you've got nothing else to do here, Vanessa, leave. This isn't your room. Vanessa glared at Kelsey before storming out. Left alone with Brandon, Kelsey found herself unable to meet his gaze directly. Her heart was fluttering too much. Just being near him made her inexplicably happy. Brandon, thanks again," she finally said. "You're welcome. Now get some rest. Tomorrow, you all have another challenge. Do your best because," he paused, flashing a grin, "because I want you to marry me." "Marry you?" Kelsey echoed in shock. He nodded. "Yes, but you're all still competing, right? And I know there are contestants who might beat you." "Well, yeah, they might," she admitted, confused. Brandon smirked. "Not in my eyes. I don't see anyone but you, Kelsey. What's so bad about that?" "I'm the bachelor here, and you're my contestant," he teased, then winked before closing her door. Kelsey nearly swooned, her heart pounding with excitement. She wasn't here to get married. She'd only come because Cheryl had forced her, and the family business was at stake. Yet Brandon's words and presence made her blush and feel strangely happy. All three women woke early for the day's competition, standing in the mansion's courtyard. Mrs. Hughes explained the challenge. "Ladies, your task today is simple: ironing clothes. One of you might become my son's wife, and it won't do if you rely on the household staff for everything. So, show us what you can do. Each of you will be given clothes to iron in exactly 40 minutes. Your time starts now." Vanessa and Alyssa immediately sprang into action. Kelsey, however, stood there cluelessly, never having ironed clothes in her life. "You, Kelsey, why aren't you moving?" Mrs. Hughes asked sharply. "Ma'am, I don't know how to iron. Which buttons do I push, or what do I do?" Kelsey admitted, embarrassed. Vanessa overheard and sneered. "Seriously? You just plug it in, wait till it heats up, and start ironing." "Oh, okay, got it," Kelsey said, quickly plugging the iron into the outlet. After a few minutes, she checked if it was hot by pressing her hand to it. "Ow, it's hot!" she yelped, shaking her burnt fingers. "Kelsey!" Brandon called out from across the room, trying to approach her, but his mother stopped him. "It's an iron. Of course it's hot. Why on earth would you use your hand?" "Good grief," Mrs. Hughes scolded, exasperated. "I'm sorry," Kelsey muttered. "But I'm not giving up." "I'll do it," she insisted, remembering the hefty debt she owed Brandon. If she lost, she'd be buried in payments. If she won, she might be able to negotiate a way out without actually marrying him. Mrs. Hughes sighed. "Fine, proceed." Kelsey tried her best, glancing over at the others to see how they were ironing, but her inexperience soon caused her to burn part of the shirt she was working on. "Kelsey, what the heck are you doing?" Mrs. Hughes demanded. "It's scorched, Kelsey stammered. "Just get out of here." "You lost this round," Mrs. Hughes declared. "Yes, ma'am, sorry," Kelsey mumbled.